Besides, isn't it common courtesy for guests to bring a bottle of wine or something when visiting? No wonder you haven't many friends. Alice's words stuck in my head. Having too many friends still stung too. I was considering visiting, but maybe it was true. I guess I ought to bring her something to keep from being just a moocher all the time. I looked around my house. It was still a mess, but I'm sure there was something suitable in it. I'd hope so anyway. I rummaged around the various semi-sorted piles of possessions I had around the house. Let's see, swords, books, metal junks, teapots, a bust of some Western politician. It appears at some point I managed to acquire one of Rainbow's hair ribbons. Why did I even have that? Was I planning on wearing it at some point? It was then that I noticed a bottle of wine lying next to my pile of cloth things. Well, she did say I could bring a bottle of wine. I grabbed a piece of cloth from the pile, wrapped the bottle in it, and headed out. As I got close to Alice's house, I heard a strange whining noise coming from inside. I remembered Alice had recently bought some sort of weird electrical tool from Corin recently. He called it the power sander or something. She had to rework the power source, but that wasn't too hard. I also noticed the smell of fresh clay. She was probably making fresh porcelain for a new doll. Odd, she normally used plush. Now that I thought about it, she had been working on that really big doll. I wonder what she was planning on doing with it when it was done. Okay, let me think. So it says she's working on a big doll, right? So we've established that it takes... Wait, no. UFO is 12. UFO was 12. Subterranean is 11. So this still could take... So yeah, so it's at least before 12.3 because 12.3 was... He's still Sensoku, I believe. So yeah, the Goliath doll. So yeah, it's still before 12 at least, I'm thinking. Should be. Timeline-wise. Because there's no Byakuran, in a sense, like, you know, Marissa's not familiar with Byakuran given what Alice said, and then Alice, from what it sounds like, is working on the Goliath doll. So, you know, so it should be at least before UFO, timeline-wise. No response. She probably couldn't hear me over the sound of the power sander. I decided to try the workshop window. Inside, I could see Alice. She had some sort of protective mask and was bent over that really large doll with the strange device in her hand. I suppose she was smoothing something out with it? There was also the electric blue glow of a lightning spell somewhere in the back of the workshop. I guess that was how she was making it work. I rapped on the window. That caught her attention. Alice looked up and shut off the machine. Yo, I came to visit again. The puppeteer took off the protective mask she'd been using and came to open the window. I'm working on something, you can see that, right? Besides, didn't I say, I already got that covered. I presented her with the wine. She took off the cloth and looked at the bottle. What? I didn't think you actually. I kind of expected Alice to trail off at some point, but instead she just sort of stopped speaking and stared at the cloth instead. Hey Marissa, isn't this spider silk? Yeah, I just grabbed what was at hand. Why? This texture, the consistency, its tensile strength seems very high, yet it's very flexible. Alice rubbed the cloth a couple times, pulling and stretching it. Then she gave it to Dolls, who stretched it out and she punched it. It seems very resilient and tough too. Marissa, do you have any more? Huh? More? Why do you need more? The Goliath doll needs armor. This could be perfect, Marissa. Marissa, examine this piece. She handed me the piece of cloth. I've heard that spider silk was extremely flexible, very light and tough at the same time, but I never imagined it'd be quite this useful, and it feels like it might retain an enchantment very easily. It was true, spider silk was known for being light, tough, and flexible. As for the last point, I'm wondering a basic enchantment spell, if this worked. The cloth immediately began giving off an iridescent glow, changing colors every few seconds. You're right, that spell just stuck right to it. I've never seen any other natural material stick to magic like that. This was amazing. A discovery like this can make our lives so much very much easier. I could easily put protection spells on any of my clothes, maybe infuse them with magic so I can draw on it later. It'd be easier to move around too. Alice could probably make her dolls half as light and twice as easy to control. She could probably use more at once then. We need more of this stuff, we have to test it. Yeah, but don't you have any more, do you? But you don't have any more, do you? No, we'll need to find more. You said you were going to make armor for that really big doll. Yes, we'll need about 200 square feet of it. What if we put an enlarged enchantment on it? Oh, then we only need 175 square feet. And we'll need the components for some resistance spells. What was that spell that Patchy always puts on her books? Resisto? Yeah, and maybe we should enchant it to power up the wearer. Then we could devote more of the doll's power to other things like mobility or something. And we'll definitely need that, and think of all the other things we might be able to do with it. I bet I could make a cool web spell with that. Maybe a net. I wonder if Mystia would be interested in a magical fishing net in return for a cut of her profits. Oh, and rope. Enchanted spider silk rope. That's like taking it back to original use. It's elegant in how simple the idea is. We need to find some more spider silk. Now, where can we find some more? I think I might know a place. Wait, you want me to do what? We need a lot of spider silk for a project. We figured this would be the best place to get it. I'm not some sort of loom. I can't just make all that spider silk. I looked around us as Alice talked. I wasn't sure exactly how true that was. Yamame's, I suppose the best word would be liar. It wasn't much of a house so much as a web-lined tunnel. Yamame's lair was absolutely covered in spider silk. I especially noted the hammock off in the corner where I assumed Yamame slept. It looked like she made it herself of her own silk. Of course, I wasn't sure how long it would have taken to get this either. I kind of been expecting to have wrapped up victims in disease-filled puddles everywhere, but the entire lair seemed very tidy and well kept. I suppose I make an unfair assumption about Yamame. Still, there was silk all over the place. What's all this then? Well, I can make it, but it's not like my webs come out of thin air. I'm not sure I follow you. I need to eat too, you know. All this is made of protein. My body does need to make the silk from something. And for that matter, why do you need all this silk? Couldn't you just go get some wool like you surface dwellers usually do? Of course not. We need the spider silks because of such high quality. Well, flattery will get you nowhere, no matter what you say. I still can't just produce that much silk in one go. Maybe if I allowed to eat first, well, perhaps if we fed you, maybe we could get firefly hunting again. And you just squash them again. Oh, I don't really need you to go catch fireflies. Any food that had a lot of protein of it in it will be fine. Besides, if I wanted fireflies, I could catch them myself. Well then, where should we go get Yamame food? Actually, I have another idea for that. I know we offered to feed Yamame, but... Another round, please. Alright, one more extra spicy coming right up. This was a tad bit ridiculous. Alice and I simply stared at the rapid growing pile of plate at Yamame's side. The spider had easily eaten at least 3 times what Alice and I had eaten combined, and she showed no signs of stopping. At this rate, how much money do you have on you, Marissa? I was just gonna put it on my tab. How much more do you think she needs to eat for the amount of silk we need? I don't know, really. In any case, who are we going to get to work with the silk after we're done with it? Have you ever worked with spider silk before? No, unfortunately, although I know that Kappa Neri is fairly good with cloth in general. I remember she was able to do some interesting things with the yukata during the festival. Haha, I found you, Marissa. Speaking of Kappa, speak of the devil. The candid Kappa walked in under the flap of Mystia's cart carrying a yellow flower that vaguely resembled a tulip. Behold, my latest gift. She shoved the flower at me. I could smell a strong fragrance of some sort emanating from it. It smelled kind of like roses, but not. What is this? I'm glad you asked. This is the latest in aromatic therapeutic technology. Behold, my aromatherapy. God damn, I can't read for shit, rose, okay? Long ass word, rose. Deal with it. But this doesn't even look like a rose. Ah, but the rose has long been a symbol of romance and love in general. It simply would not to have something as romantic as the fuck you rose be called something else. After all, a rose by any other name isn't a rose at all. You're aware that's not how the quote goes at all, right? Nonsense, it is my quote now, and that is what counts. So, what does it do besides smell like a rose despite looking like a tulip? A good question. It has been said that the most basic of sense an animal has is a sense of smell. The closest thing to the base instinct, one could say. It has also said that the memory is tied closest to smell. Thus, I have cultivated this flower using the finest genetic engineering technology in all of Gensokyo, blessed by the Aki sisters themselves, bred from the finest tulips in the world. That's saying a lot considering you're only one region. You got like the whole fucking earth to compare. But yeah, finest tulips in the world, guys. She straight up says it right there. There, even you said it was a tulip. Neri ignored my comments and continued. Behind us, Mystia continued frying her eels, and Yamame continued eating them, both seemingly oblivious to the entire scene. Maybe the sound of the oil frying drowned out Nidori's voice. This flower, it emanates a powerful scent, formulated carefully to be the most pleasant scent known to man and yokai kind. It is absolutely irresistible. Anyone who smells it will immediately be entranced. Entranced? Ah, and I felt perfectly fine, and I was holding the thing. Of course. Sorry to burst your bubble, Neri, but I think years of potion research have killed my nose. I feel exactly the same as before. What? It's making it hard to taste my eel, but that's about it. So, you don't feel entranced? No. Not even slightly aroused? Nope. Maybe just a little pleasant? Nah, afraid not. So it's a complete failure. Looks like it. Admittedly, the smell from the eel cart was also helping drown out the flower, but I wasn't going to give Nidori advice here. Oh well, it sounds like you might need to go back to the drawing board, Nidori. But I do like roses. Mind if I take a sniff since it's harmless anyway? Before I could stop her, Alice took the flower from me and inhaled deeply. This is amazing. This is the best flower I've ever smelled. With that, Alice threw herself on top of Nidori and began nuzzling her head against her. What? Well, it looks like it worked after, the next person Alice glimpsed was me. Helpful Marissa, get. What? Hey, stop rubbing against me like that. What are you, a cat? Yeah, she's a cat now. She straight up is a cat. At my suggestion, Alice immediately began making purring and mewing noises and moving her fist around like cat paw. It was both kind of cute and very disturbing at the same time. I can imagine if I was in that predicament. Oh, yeah, oh, Alice sees a little birdie to play with, yeah. Her gaze fixated on Mystia, still standing oblivious at her grill. I suppose she must be used to drunk customers by now, but then again... Uh-oh, Mystia, look out! Yes? Yeah, what are you looking at me like that, Alice? Alice just giggled and pounced on top of Mystia. I never knew Alice was capable of leaping quite like that. This isn't how the item is supposed to work at all. Hey Alice, what are you doing? Don't just stand there, help me! Ah, my heels! They're going to burn! Back to the drawing board, I guess. Yeah. Help! Eventually, we managed to pry Alice off of Mystia. The kind Night Sparrow decided not to charge us for damages, although she did make us buy the eels she lost while Alice had her pinned down. I managed to keep Nidori around, explain why we needed her while we were waiting for the fuck you rose effects to wear off. Oh, so you wanted to make cloth form out of spider silk. Well, I'd be glad to help you, Marissa. But I need some spider silk to do all the tests you want to do first. Well, that's why we have her here. Yamame, you've eaten enough by now, right? Yup, I'm very full now. I feel like I could spin miles of silk now. I could tell. I can almost swear that Yamame actually got to noticeably larger. As for the bill... Suck it up and pay it. Mystia, how much did Yamame end up eating anyways? Mystia moved her fingers around a bit, trying to do the math in her head. Let's see, one initially, then another 2 rounds, then there was spicy. She paused for a moment. I believe 12 plates. How much is that total then? Mystia frowned a bit at this and reached under the bar and pulled out an abacus. After sliding the beads on it around rapidly, she put it down. Your total will come to 3,400 yen. It's not that bad, right? Would it be like 34 bucks maybe? If I'm correct? Hopefully I'm right. Because that doesn't sound that bad. Unless inflation's different here. I'm not used to spending on that much on eel. I reached into my wallet and produced 3,400 yen. My inner thief cried out a bit as I did so, but I handed Mystia the money and then turned to Yamame. So, we fed you, Yamame. Can you produce silk for us now? Sure, how much do you want? I looked over at Alice. She was still drooling on the bar where we left her. She probably wouldn't be too happy once she came to her senses. Unfortunately, Alice was the one who knew the exact measurements of the Goliath though. Should I just make something up? For what you're trying to do, it sounds like you'll need around 200 square feet of silk. So 200 feet? Yeah, let's go with that. Yamame nodded and unbuttoned the latest button on her shirt, revealing her midriff. I was a bit confused until I noticed a pair of small nubs where her belly button ought to have been. Yamame began pulling a white silky substance out of her spinnerets and spinning into a long bolt of cloth. About halfway through, Alice recovered and went behind Misty's cart to sulk. Right about when Alice returned, Yamame finished spinning our cloth. All done. Good, can you work with this, Nidori? Nidori took a small clipping of the silk and examined it closely. After some deliberation, she shook her head. It's no good, this stuff is easy to enchant, but its structurally integrity isn't enough to stand up to sustained Damaku attacks. Huh? You could make some pretty clothes out of it, but I want to make armor for one of your dolls from it, Alice. No way! And after we went to so much trouble to get it. Well, if you can find a stronger material, I'd be happy to enchant it for you. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go back and work on plan 299. Shit!